Just doing a quick little test to make sure we have audio. Okay, sounds like we got audio going on. Very cool, very cool. We'll get started over here in a second. Well, I'm getting a couple things ready here. If you are new to the chat, drop your name into the chat and say hello. I'd like to see who's joining in tonight. Appreciate everybody joining in. We'll get started here in a second. See who we have hanging out with us tonight. Hey, Wolf Midnight, how you doing? Thanks for joining in. Jose. Where are you from, Jose? Cool, cool, cool. Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you're doing well, and it's a happy Saturday night. Boy, looking forward to having fun with you and drawing some thumbnails and some storyboards over here. Uh, cool. So I got Jose goes by Wolf Midnight. Awesome. I like that. I like the handle there, Wolf Midnight. That's pretty cool. Uh, Doing well. Learn a lot from the videos. Awesome. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch the videos and having a good time. And I hope you're getting great value out of it. Wolf is from British Columbia, Canada. British Columbia. Very cool, very cool. I'm over here in the United States. I'm in Pennsylvania, so over here on the East Coast, and having fun coming to you over here. Let's go ahead and get things kicked off. If you are joining the live stream and hanging out, and introduce yourself. I'd love to know who we're hanging out with tonight, and I appreciate you good friends jumping on. Maria is here. Hey, Maria, how's it going tonight? Hope all is well with you. So I got Jose and Maria. Like I was saying, if you're new to the live stream, drop your name in the chat. Let me know who we're hanging out with tonight and having some fun and doing some storyboarding. If we have not met before, my name is Paul Angeli, and I am a live action storyboard artist. And I created this YouTube channel about 4 months ago. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy sharing my journey and my processes with you guys. I used to be a college, a university instructor, and I enjoy the sort of the teaching aspect a lot of what I do. And I had a lot of buddies reach out to me and say, "Hey, Polly, why don't you start up a YouTube channel and start teaching online?" And I said, "Hey, that's a great idea." So we've been going strong at going on 4 months now. So it's a new budding visual storytelling and storyboarding channel here on YouTube, and I appreciate good friends like you with like-minded ideas in both the visual storytelling medium, entertainment, whether it be live action film, feature animation, televised animation, music videos, cutscenes for video games, or just your basic corporate video, and you're asking to storyboard some stuff. I have a wide variety of backgrounds. I got my start as a a visual illustrator, doing illustration, got into 2D animation, and got my start really in comic books, if you can believe that. So a lot of cool stuff, a lot of knowledge to be able to share, and hopefully this channel gives you, like I saw from Jose, a great bit of information and value to help you on your journey and be there. These live sessions I've been holding, I do them 3 times a week. They're here for a good time, for us to share, to learn, for you to ask questions. So please be interactive if there's questions going on during the live stream. I know this isn't like a Zoom, but we have to go by the text right now for these live streams on YouTube. But feel free, drop a question if you have a question. Follow along as I'm drawing, so you can sort of get inspired on how to draw your storyboards and your visual telling medium. We've gone over so many different things. I believe this is episode, if I would guess episode. So this is number 51 in our live stream. So we've done 51 live streams. We've got well over 100 hours of valuable visual storytelling content coming to you on the channel. So I bring, like I said, this to you 3 times a week. This is for you to use as a resource, to help inspire you, to help be a center for a community that we're building with like-minded people in visual storytelling. And I'd appreciate if you took the time to subscribe to the channel. It lets me know you're watching, and also it helps to support the channel. So it lets me know, hey, let's keep going strong, Polly. Let's keep getting these videos going. I'm looking forward to more content from you. Real quick, I'm going to leave you with sort of our programming schedule that we have currently up until today. Is on Tuesdays I hold my live stream called Storyboarding, Mastering the Basics. And in the Mastering the Basics is pretty much your tutorial, your how-to, live streams that are coming over to you. We've done so many different topics, from camera shot sizes to the visual language of cinematography and film, getting your film language up to par. We've also gone from all the way from a shooting script all the way through to a final animatic. So if there's some great information that you need to learn, what is the storyboarding process and how that works, and be some information there. Very informational, very informative. And then on Thursdays, I'm a big proponent of putting in the pencil mileage, putting in those reps. Where did I put my sketchbook? Let me grab one of them here. Is just putting in that time. And oh, there goes my camera. Come on, camera, come back in again. Come back out. Come back to me, camera. Okay. And I think it's super important to work in your sketchbook every single day. And you have to do quality sketches, and I don't mean a fancy final sketch, but use your sketchbook to there's a lot of different ways, and you can catch one of the older live streams on how to use your sketchbook other than just a sketchbook for drawings. Use it for journaling, use it for your story bank of ideas, your exploration of your artwork. Also, too, I have so many of these. I have quite a few of these books throughout the years that I've kept, and it also inspires you. So if you're having a bad art day where just nothing's working for you, it's always great to sort of open up your book and go, oh yeah, I know how to draw, and having some inspiration in there to get you going. These books are, this one's usually right. This one's from some time ago. Let me see if I can. Some crazy stuff in here. See what I have, and it's like it'll house ideas, and you'll just have different ideas that you'll put in those storyboards and keep it as a storyboard bank. And I think it's super important to take the time and do that storyboarding, or excuse me, that sketching in your sketchbook. And it's just an idea bank of just different ideas. putting in anywhere from I know a lot of pro artists out there, designers, character designers, and everybody. Just put a little bit of time in. Have it scheduled every single day. You put in 5 minutes at the least to sort of do some interesting stuff. Here's some I guess logo design I was doing quite some time ago, and it's just so impactful. So on those Thursdays, I pick different topics, and we sort of go over just our basics of our drawing and things like that. And I think it's just super important to put that pencil mileage in. Let's see what else do I have. Even like here's some commercials. Maybe you see these pretty clearly. Some commercials I was working on, and I just think just putting that time in to draw every day. What else do I have in here? All different stuffs, ideas of characters, trying out different things. Let me see if I got anything else in. And just doing some different designs. This one happened to be more of a character animation work I did. Let's just see if anything else cool. Even just like early, these are so old now. Some early just concept of storyboards and things like that, and just sketching. So to get to the point, have that sketchbook of yours. I like sort of a diary type of style. I also sit down and just scratch out some notes and some artwork just on copy paper too. So I go a few different ways on that. But again, back to the programming. So that's on Thursdays. Sketching, we've done everything from gesture drawing to how to draw the female form to the male form to faces to eyes to whatever it is. And we sort of use that time to put together that information and that sort of a time just to hang out and draw. So if you're having a difficult time as an artist and you're like, just come on, join in on the Thursdays and just hang out and draw whatever you want to do, and what I usually challenge people with is when I'm drawing, go ahead and copy what I'm drawing, on the screen, but draw it in your own way so you can build your own portfolio and your own artistic acumen in terms of how you're drawing and your visual narrative of what you're doing. Sometimes we're drawing storyboards, sometimes we're just drawing I think this last Thursday we just worked on faces. So we had just a bunch of different character faces to have some fun with that. And then on Saturdays like today is a fun day, and it's sort of I call it the jam session. So it's our time to hang out. We're going to draw some storyboards. I don't come in with any type of predetermined way I'm going to draw for the evening. It's just sort of we're going to just I sort of like playing musical instruments. So we're all hanging out. When somebody's on bass, somebody's on electric main electric guitar, somebody's on drum kit, somebody's playing another instrument, and we're just jamming, like just having some fun, playing some music, being creative. Saturdays are a time for you to just chill out, draw some boards, maybe do some thumbnails, and I'll be go ahead and doing that. And tonight's sort of topic, I'll pick a topic like tonight. We're going to be working on crime thrillers and things like that. So, and I'm just going to be riffing, having fun. I'm not coming in with a script or anything. I'm just going to start drawing, and I sort of just let it roll where it rolls. And we just work on the visual storytelling and, really let it go and have some fun with it. So I hope you're all doing well tonight, and we're having a good time with this. But again, if you're new to the chat or new to the live stream, drop your name in the chat. I want to know who we're hanging out with. I have, I got Jose going by Wolf Midnight hanging out with us tonight. I have my good friend Maria, who hasn't missed a beat with us, and I really appreciate Maria joining. She's been watching since the start of the YouTube channel. I really appreciate you joining in, Maria. Hope you're doing okay. And then I got John C. What's going on, John C? How's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, good afternoon to you too, wherever you are. Where are you, John C? Where are you at in the world? And what are you working on? Wolf, Jose said, I'm building a portfolio for storyboarding. Cool. Have you storyboarded before? Are you looking for a job, Jose? Where are you at in your journey? And John C., go ahead and share your journey with me too. I'd love to know what you're up to. Are you animation, live action, comic books? What are you sort of into? So I can sort of cater to help you guys too. This is to be informative for you folks. I try to leave it open. And again, I for those that cannot catch this time, I really thank you for taking the time to watch the replay and hang out with us. If you can't make it tonight live, but go ahead, feel free if you're watching this on the replay, reach out to me on the YouTube channel, drop a comment in the notes, or reach out to me on Instagram or DM me over there. So let me leave you my contact information as well for those of you that would like to further their connection with me and reach out. I know quite a few of you have reached out to help to see if there's another way I can help you on a one-on-one basis as well. So let me throw that information up. Again, my name is Paul Angeli. I'm a live action storyboard artist. If you're interested in business queries or have a project in mind that I could help you out with, please do let me know. You can reach me on my email, which is at mr.paul.angeli@gmail.com. And again, my name is Paul Angeli. And you can reach me on my website as well, and that's www.paulangeli.com. That's paulangeli.com. And then over on Instagram, just look up my handle under Paul Angeli. You'll find me very easily. Quite a few of you use that tactic to get in touch with me via direct message on Instagram. DM me anytime, and love to see how I could help you out that way. And of course, here on the YouTube channel, and at the very end, I pop my LinkedIn information as well. Another thing too is take the time. I'd love to see your artwork. Share your handles with me. You can throw it into the chat too. If you have an Instagram handle or a portfolio that you'd like me to take a look at, pop it into the notes here, and we'd love to keep in contact with you as we work together and build this community. Jose says, I did storyboarding. I did storyboard a long time ago in 2003. It was for TV cartoons. Very, very cool. Very cool. And John C., yeah, if you ever get a chance, yeah, drop it in the chat what you're working on and how you're doing. So cool. Okay, we're here. We're talking about crime thrillers tonight. I sort of picked that topic and just having fun with it. And I go back to all different types of crime thrillers. It was sort of funny. It was just earlier tonight. I was hanging out with my youngest son. I just picked him up from a wrestling meet, and we were sitting there going. Earlier today, I was like, I'm gonna work on crime thrillers and stuff like tonight. And he's all, Dad, you should be doing something with Big Trouble Little China. We were watching that movie, and I'm like, I'm trying to get myself focused on, a crime drama. I was sitting there watching Jack Burton, and for Big Trouble Little China. And that's a fun favorite film over here at this house. So let me write that down. One of these days, I gotta do that. Do a little thing on that film. That film came out in 1986. I can't believe so long ago. In terms of it was starred Kurt Russell, Kim Cattrall, so many different people in that stuff. It was James Hong who played David Lopan, and just a crazy movie, and directed by the great John Carpenter. So just a crazy film. But tonight we're going to be focusing on this. So my son was asking me about it, and I was like, maybe in the future we'll do something like that. But for tonight and stuff, we're going to focus on the crime drama. So cool. So we talked about Jose working on TV cartoons. John C. says, I'm from China, love animation, and I'm doing storyboard in a game company. I just found your channel today, and you're streaming now. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, of course. Happy to help out. So happy you could join us tonight and hang out for a little bit as we're drawing and doing some cool stuff. So I would assume you're doing animation for doing storyboard in the game company. Cool. So I hope you're getting the opportunity to do the cinematics and the cut scenes for your film or your video game that you're working on. Cool. Very cool. Love animation. Oh, animation company. Okay, game company. Okay, cool. Yeah, my one of my big first projects I got to work on. I worked on as an animator, and then invited on to become a executive producer on early on was a the first interactive comic books. I worked on a series called Reflux, and it was Reflux the beginning. Number one, there was Reflux 1 and Reflux 2. What we were taking, you know, martial art films, and we would secure the rights for the martial art film fight sequences, and then we would go and uh, come up with the story in the comic pages, and in the interactive comic books, we would make the actual comic come alive into these fight sequences. And then I got to break off and work on the contracting part of the company, and we were working with Jackie Chan and the Golden Harvest Communications. So we got to do some cool stuff with that, and I think we made it to like a small beta demo with that, because this company wasn't able to secure the final rights through Golden Harvest Communications to get the fight footage for the film that we were working with Jackie Chan on. So unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes. But cool projects, cool things to have worked on, and have some demos and stuff. And like I said before, one of these I'm going to start getting in, and one of the videos I was thinking about is going through all the previous projects I worked on and sort of introduce you to some of those projects and stuff. So pretty cool stuff back, and that was late in the early 90s. So that was pretty cool stuff to be working on. So let's get in. I'm going to get open up. We're going to be working through Photoshop today. So let me get everything situated. Get your drawing tools out. And whatever you're going to be drawing with tonight, get your pens, your pencils, your stylus. I usually, when I'm doing these demos, I usually utilize Photoshop, and we'll have some fun with it. And I'm going to put some, I'm going to try something different tonight, folks. Um, let's do this real quick. I pop this up, go in the session here. Let me see here. So let me ask a question to you folks that are watching. When you're working in digitally, what is your favorite piece of software that you are using? Are you a Photoshop person? Do you use Painter? Are you using Storyboard Pro? Or are you using another drawing software as you're drawing? So just curious, what drawing software you are currently using right now. Just curious to throw it out there and see what I'm going to put that question up here real quick. And what drawing software? Well, I should have put a question mark. But what drawing software are you currently using? Just curious out there on that. Okay, so let me go into Photoshop. This was one of the courses I used to teach in at university. Was I was using Photoshop. I taught a lot of different software um, in terms of drawing. And then another question is, would you be interested in more how to? So a question I would have for people, would you be interested in more of how-to software videos and how to use these programs for your storyboarding or whatever your visual storytelling is? So Jose says learning Storyboard Pro, but I used Photoshop. Cool. John C says I'm using Storyboard Pro right now. Very cool. It's usually a main staple, Storyboard Pro. Steigen Pictures, Procreate. That's something I haven't gotten into yet. Was the Procreate? I'm still sort of hooked to the desktop. I have both my small HD compact Cintiq, and then I got my big giant one. Um, that I use. For the work I'm doing. So I have the big one. I'll sit at my table. Sometimes I like to draw big. Other times I draw small. So again, the question after the what drawing software are you using? What would you be interested in more of the how-to software videos, how to use the programs? Another program I'm just getting into, starting to use too, is the Blender grease pencil, and learning how to do that to put some of my animatics into a 3D environment. I've seen some cool work going on lately that is inspiring to what I'm working on right now. So, okay, we're going to be talking about belly. Yes, but I immediately tune out. I'm a pencil and charcoal drawer. Always wanted to be able to draw small. Okay, gotcha. Cool. A lot of new friends joined in the live stream. So thanks for popping in. I got Steigen Pictures, and I got Bud Belly. Yes, so I immediately tune out. Pencil, charcoal drawer. Cool. Yeah, some of my videos too, I'll turn the camera around and I work traditionally using pens and pencils and this type of things. I think it's super cool to be able to do that. And I think some of the storyboards I've drawn for whether it be comics or film or whatever. I think it's super important to be able just to pull out a pen, a Sharpie or something like that. Let's see, I got a Sharpie over here. And be able to pull a Sharpie out and just draw right there, working with the director or working on a project. There's just something immediate about it, being able to just have your skill sets honed in so you can just start creating those storyboards for your client that way. One of the things that is always inspires me about being a storyboard artist all the time and keeps me thriving in this industry is that I love to draw, I love to tell stories, but also love to direct too. I've done a lot of my own personal films and things like that where I put them into film contests and had done pretty well at some of those contests. And so I think it's super important to be able to visualize what you see in your mind, your mind's eye, and put it down onto paper, and it helps the rest of your crew and set the blueprint of how the film is going to look, or how the animated show is going to look, or what the even for if you're thumbnailing and laying out your comic pages, you still need to lay it all out. You still have to do all that thinking process. And talking to some of my pro friends out there, it's like we don't get to share that stuff all the time, and you sort of see that final storyboard shot in the making of book or whatever like that. You don't get to see all the thinking process. So we sort of see a shot like this here, where it's more of a flushed out tonal, shot, and we're missing out on all the thumbnail and pour sketches and things like that. So, but I love storyboarding because you're working. For now, I work with a lot of directors and I work with a lot of clients, whether it be music video or whatever it might be, and you're able to work with them, and your job is to help provide solutions on the visual storytelling of what you're doing, taking their image, what they see, how they want to see the film work out, and putting those initial images together in a sense. You're like a mini director putting that all together, and you're utilizing that for the blueprint for the movie. Film projects and major motion pictures and blockbusters and stuff like that are all very super collaborative environments, and you're just one of the many artists all working in unison to make these wonderful projects, creative works of art, come to life on the movie screen. And it's really exciting to be a part of and have, and that's what excites me about storyboarding and making feature and live action work. So Okay, let's go back over here. Let's turn off Big Paul's off. Let's go back into Photoshop here. So one of the things I'm going to start doing is we're talking about crime and crime thrillers. You know, whether it be an older film, you know, James Cagney type of old film, or even newer crime films or heist films and things like that. Always fun to get into. I know, like, I don't know if it would be considered a crime thriller, like something like John Wick and those type of films. Those are like I guess the coined term now is gun fu, and just there's lots of martial arts in it, lots of gunplay, car chases, everything like that. But crime thrillers also, you know, the heist. It's the you know, it's the Ocean's 11 type of crime, you know, thriller to whatever it might be. So first, we're gonna start off. I'm gonna turn this off real quick, add some new layer on here, and I'm just going to start sort of sketching and drawing a little bit, sort of warm up the old hand, and just sort of have some fun here. Let's get this to number 4. Cool. See how my line looks. Cool. So I usually do a lot of cheats, and when we were talking about faces earlier, um, I'll do some cheats and stuff like that. You know, if I'm drawing a male face or a female face, I tend to draw my sort of cheats on male faces is using you know, a square or rectangle, and then on a female face, I'll sit there and I'll always think of diamonds or something like that. I sort of have this sort of as I'm starting off to draw. If I'm drawing faces, simplest forms, ears, that type of way. If I'm drawing a male, I'll do the same type of thing. I'll have a more square. And this is just rough of how I'm drawing real quick if I need to draw for speed. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll drop down the opacity. And then I can go and I sort of have it all set up, and I can go in there with a little bit more detail now. So just real quick, I don't try to add a lot of detail in there. In terms of what I'm doing here with the female form. Sometimes I'll add a layer behind it, and just if I need to add some quick. Sort of get the idea as I'm warming up here. You can just have some fun warming up and stuff. So it's the female figure maybe over here. Work on that male figure a little bit. Have some fun just warming up. Male figure there. Okay, let's turn these off. Okay, so we're talking about tonight about a sort of a crime thriller and just sort of having fun with this. So let's blow up a little bit on our characters. Trying to think of how we can draw our male character here. Let me see here. Okay. So now we're sort of looking full body on the character itself. Let's see. And when I'm thinking full body, I'll just use some simple short forms here. Just thinking out loud here. And when you're drawing too, we get caught up in all the detail of a drawing, and sometimes I sit there and I go, okay, if you can draw a stick figure, you can storyboard. You don't need fancy drawings for that. Steigen his pictures is asking, what kind of brush are you using? When I'm using my brush, I usually just use a round brush or a round hard brush. Let's see what I have it on right now. I'll just use just a hard brush to draw. I try to keep it simple, and all I'm trying to do is tell a story right now. I'm thumbnailing. I'm sort of crude. I'm not using any type of fan. I got fancy brushes on here, but when I'm teaching these lessons, if I can just use a simple, round hard brush, and teach what we're trying to do, it just makes it easier, um, because I think when it comes to brushes, I get asked a lot, what brush are you using, or whatever it might be. If you can lay down the line, it's sort of like we were talking about in past videos, is if you can just draw on a piece of paper and you're able to draw your characters, the software, the piece of paper, whatever, that's just the tool. You still need to be able to draw, and I think you need to have clarity in terms of what you're drawing. Here I drew a bunch of stick figures. Throw another layer on there. If you're able to draw something simple, like just like I would say, like a cookie cutout of a person, you can create a lot of movement with just this basic form. And it's learning how to draw. If I want to show that character, and he's sort of sad and just walking down, I can sit there and think of this character, walking like a zombie. It's sort of that Disney-esque. Usually see it. It's sort of like a, if you can draw the flour sack, type of idea. And I sort of think of, when you're drawing, if you can draw, even if this character was happy, you know, if you could draw with these simple shapes. I've heard it called the Starman or whatever it is too. But if you can draw with these simple shapes, you can do a lot. If I'm just drawing here. If you can draw with your simple gestures, just drawing these simple shapes, you can tell your storyboard really quick. You don't need to have some fancy boards getting done. And if I'm just drawing, and I have a storyboard panel that I'm drawing, and I sit there and I have my character in that picture frame. I can do a lot of storytelling just with the simplest of shapes. Maybe he is a cowboy. Maybe the cowboy's up here. If I could draw with just these simple shapes, you can tell a compelling story just with the basics. I love drawing complicated too, but when you're thumbnailing and just figuring out your sequence, you can tell a lot of story just in a small picture. This is like so simple. There's nothing complicated to this. You know, in terms of your storyboard shot of what you're doing there. So not a lot of complicated stuff, but if you can simply draw like that using those simple characters, you can do a lot. And if you want to change up your form as you're doing your basic shots here, let's just say that's where your boarding is. You need to know what you're doing here. Let's drop down here. So if I'm drawing a female character, I just know that the hips are going to be wider. Keeping those simple shapes. Same thing with a man. You know that when you're drawing those shapes. I'm drawing a superhero, whatever it might be. So you can sort of get the idea of when you're drawing these down, drawing these images down. So let's have some fun. I'm going to turn these off. Let's play around with our characters here in terms of what do we want this crime idea, and sort of focus on these characters. Okay, so and we'll use our shape language. If you want to learn how to draw, go check out those jam sessions. Excuse me, the sketching after hours sessions. We go into all different how to use shapes, how to simplify your forms, all those things. So let's I'm gonna rough out real quick. Let's just see here. Trying to think of our character here. Crime drama. This guy have like a just sort of thinking of ideas of what these characters could look like. Doesn't look like that. Maybe he has the Just sort of playing around with these characters real quick, see what we come up with. Sometimes I work with an underlying drawing and sort of work from there. Get that turned up a little bit. Let me just see here. Just thinking where I can take this character. We don't have a collar on him. Maybe we take him with the we have him with the turtleneck type of thing. Some ideas for him. Just thinking of ideas right now before we start boarding. I hope everybody's having a good time and you're drawing along. If you're having fun and learning, go ahead and drop a like on this video. I'd appreciate it if you took the time to subscribe. Just some ideas we got cooking here. Okay, so I got some warm-ups here. Okay, let's have some fun. I think it's important too when you're putting together your storyboards and your thumbnails, even though we're not working off a shooting script or anything like that, is sort of to rough out and sort of to make your shot list, you know, in terms of what you're doing and sort of to formulate. I work a few different ways. Sometimes I'll just have my shots. I'll just start putting my shots together like this, and just sort of roughly start storyboarding those shots out like that. Another time, what I'll do is I'll come up with a just my shot list. So sometimes I'm inspired by the composition of what the shot is. Other times, project might be dictated where I have my shot list. And on the shot list, I'll have shot one, shot two, shot, and just have my shot list. And then from there, I'll draw my images, whatever that shot might be. In terms of what I'm doing, and then I sort of go to that either way, and then do that type of work of putting those shots together. So we're sort of a few different ways. Sometimes I get inspired by when I go to do a drawing, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I got this shootout scene I want to do, and I'll be coming up with these sequences, and maybe I'm thinking in terms of just shape form. Of what's going on in that shot, and I'll compose the shot and then be inspired by that shot and how I want that to look. And use that to sort of kick off how do I want that to look. And right now, when you're thinking of your thumbnailing, I'm just thinking of the shot composition. I'm just keeping it really simple of what you're doing. And here it just took seconds to put together this shot that we're talking about. You know what I mean? So it's pretty simple in terms of putting it together. And I hope this is helping. If there's any questions, please drop it into the chat. Again, my name is Paul Angeli. I'm a live action storyboard artist, bringing you these live streams and having some fun with what we're doing. So I'm going to put a couple questions over here in the chat if you'd like to answer those questions while you're drawing along. I'm thumbnailing your storyboards. Do you like creating when thumbnailing your storyboards, do you like creating a shot list or just get into into thumbnailing away? So that's the question. When thumbnailing your storyboards, do you like creating a shot list or just get into thumbnailing away? Here, if anybody's there. Cool. Okay, so let's work on our crime scene here. So another thing I do too is when I'm thumbnailing, I'll just thumbnail out the ideas, and then I'll go do some reference research. So a few different things I usually do when I'm storyboarding, give you some real life examples and stuff like that too. So if I am working with on a live action film, I'm working on whatever the project might be, I might be getting. Write this down. So let's call this so some tips for storytelling. Let's just say you finally get that script. One, you get the job after all that work, all those portfolios. Okay, you just secure the project. Okay. Two, you're gonna get a shooting script for live action. Okay, let's just say live action. Okay, you're going to get a shooting script. A screenplay, once a film is greenlit, they take that screenplay and they lock it down into a shooting script. There might be multiple revisions to that shooting script, the rainbow script. There'll be different colors for revisions into that shooting script. And so when you get going, you get the job and you'll get the shooting script. Some of the things I do when I get that shooting script, I say read, read, read. Okay. I'll be sitting there reading that script so many different times. I'm looking for subtext, story, whatever it might be, the sequence. If you want to go back into my older videos, I show you how to create a shot list and how to break down a shooting script into. I'll read through everything, and I'm looking for the characters. I'm looking for the action that's going on. I'm looking for the props that might be used. I'll be looking at the environments. Is it nighttime, daytime? What type of vehicles I'll need, and I'll just go at it that way and put a research package together. Um, all the characters and elements that I'll need for that. Um, I'll read that, and as I'm reading, sometimes on the reading part, I'll thumbnail shots on the borders of script. Okay. Um, I'm going to be putting together questions. For the director or client. I'll put together a research list. For example, I need I need images like a Datsun. Maybe I'm asked for a certain vintage of car, 1970 whatever Datsun, Roadster car or something. What is it that I need to have research done? I think it's important to have questions based on remember that you're working as if you're doing a live action flick, I'm working for the director and I want to get the director's vision, but I want to make sure I'm understanding the subtext of the material, the direction where the director is going. So I want to make sure if I have questions or things are, you'll get certain shooting scripts, it'll just say fight sequence and you'll need to make it up. Sometimes a project will be yeah, proof of concept before it gets greenlit, and I'll sit there and I'll just get a pitch bible. And a pitch bible is a document with all the ideas and thoughts where the imagery and where the director might want to go. I was working on a possible gig. I remember getting a pitch bible for a World War II film, and I got all the elements and all the images and the composition style to the shooting style and to the possible characters that were actors that were going to be in the film, and I pulled it all together to come up with my sequence from that. So I think there's a lot of, it's always, I think, being a strong storyboard artist too is to be an awesome communicator. You got to be able to communicate with your director very easily and clearly and ask the pertinent questions because time is money, but also ask those important questions. So if there's something in the storyline you don't understand, or there's something, how do you see that? You have to be able to pull that out of your director. Some directors are a fantastic storyboard artists as well, and you have somebody like Sir Ridley Scott just coming out. He's put a lot of his artwork out. He was a fine artist before he became a filmmaker, and you see something like his latest film with Joaquin Phoenix with the Napoleon, or you see films like Alien or whatever it might be, or Gladiator, and Ridley's already put all those shots together and already drawn that work out. Or you see somebody like Steven Spielberg, he'll actually work with the miniatures, or he'll sketch out his crude drawing, his storyboards of where he sees the vision of the shots, and then brings on the storyboard artist to sort of kick them off and get them going on. So it makes sure make sure between the director and the rest of the team, everybody's on sync. So I think having that clear communication, the director, client, the research list, because the next part I would do is after reading that script, I'm going to go and do the research for that particular project. Maybe it's a time period piece. You know, is it held in the 1960s? I hear a lot that Marvel's working on the X-Men, and they're, the X-Men franchise part of the next generation of where they're going with their Marvel films. And I heard that or was it the Marvel films, or was it the Fantastic Four? Sort of kicking that in the 1960s. So you got to go back and look. So at number 4, I'll be doing my research. So if I need to do a time period piece, and I'm going to ancient Egypt, I'm going to go look at Giza and the different pyramids and mummification, and sort of get a feel and inspiration for ideas and looks, or look at other films. I think having that film history knowledge and of watching and be a student of film really helps back. And it's not just using today's films, it's using yesterday's films. Am I going back to look at a classic Sergio Leone film? Am I going back to look at whatever, my Alfred Hitchcock? Am I going into John Ford? Am I going into even past earlier talkies or whatever type of films? I think having that film language is really important, and I sort of spend a little bit of time to go, okay, if I'm going to do this heist or crime, well, maybe be, what type of films am I looking at? Is it more of a Quentin Tarantino style? Is it more of a Scorsese style? In terms of what I'm looking for and how I'm going forward with that. So a lot of good research from there. And then from there, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to start my thumbnailing. And those are just going to be your crude drawings of what you're doing, and I want to be able to thumbnail out. So I'll go through and with that shot list or whatever it might be, I'll start my thumbnailing, and even before that, maybe it's a 4A. You can go ahead and do that shot list, whichever way you work, okay? And then either then go from the shot list to the thumbnailing, or sometimes I just see it already in my mind's eye. I always say, when you're a voracious reader and you're reading novels all the time, I always I tell the story about when my wife was teaching. She would bring home Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and every night before we went to bed, she would read me so much of the chapter of that book. And I remember getting so into the Harry Potter series. She started it off, and man, throughout the whole series of books, man, I had to read those books, and it was always like you had this whole world in your head, and then you go see the film when the films came out, and it's like you forgot what you saw in your mind's eye, because all these artists have put together these fantastic franchise of films. And I don't see Sirius Black as a character in my head anymore, or Severus Snape. I see the actual actors in it. I see Gary Oldman as Sirius Black in my head now. So it's interesting how that works. But that's where that research and shot list and thumbnailing, when you're coming up with it, because when you're reading the screenplay, you see those shots in your head, and you sort of have fun with that. And then, of course, from your thumbnailing, I'll go and do my rough boards. Okay, and then how I'm working with that is, every time I'm done with a sequence of thumbnailing, those type of things, or my rough boards, I will get them approved by the director or whoever I'm working with as a client, and then go on to the next iteration. Let me add a little layer in here. And then so in number 7, continued, 7, revise. I'll revise my rough storyboards. Sometimes, I would say most of the time, the director gives notes. So, and what I mean by that is, I think it's important how you're saving all your files and layering in Photoshop or Storyboard Pro or however you're working and your deliverables, because the director might say, "Hey, really, Polly, I love that shot. It's a great shot, but I remember that movie. I see it like that." And so you're revising those shots all the time from your rough. So you're working loose, you're working quick, you're to the point of what you're doing. And sometimes the director, your client says, "Hey, I like to go this direction and not that direction." So you got to be able to, I would say when you're doing, that's why when you're storyboarding, I don't try to add too much illustration detail in it, because that shot, you need to be able to separate yourself from your artwork a little bit, so you can just toss that piece out and redraw it again. Hey, I'd like to see this, or change the angle of the camera on that shot, because we want to be clear and concise of what we're doing. So I always say, when you're revising your rough storyboards, you're going to get a lot of notes from your client or your director of what you're doing. And then 8. What you're going to do is you would deliver your final storyboards. And previously, you would have already asked your director or client, or whoever you're working with, is this just line art? Is this value or tone? Is this full color? Most of the time, when it comes to, depending on where you are in the film, if you're doing more of a concept design where you're doing more story beats, stuff like that, maybe it's in color, or if you're doing a commercial, it's in full color, to get that that client to put up the money for that particular ad. So they need to have more full color finalized specs. And most of the time, it's usually in a simple line art with tone to it, or tone or value to it, with most of the boards that I deliver. So depending on which one the client or the director is wanting, you would submit that in. You complete your sequence, and then get another sequence, or you go on to the next project from there. So cool. I'm going to take a moment here. If you're enjoying this live stream, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. Your support helps grow this channel so we could reach more people out there, more like-minded visual storytellers. And I hope this information is helpful for you if you're getting into storyboarding for the first time, or just brushing up and wanting to talk to another pro out there and have some fun and learn this medium and how you can tell whether it be for film, feature animation, serialized TV animation, music videos, your own personal independent films, or even your YouTube projects, or even if you're a filmmaker coming in. I think storyboarding is super important, even if you are your own director and you're doing your own films or student films or indie films. I think it's still important to lay out your imagery. There's certain ways when I'm storyboarding for live action that I would do different than I would for feature animation or something like that. You're thinking of budget, you're thinking of cost. There might be some fantastic things I want to do, but in an animated world that would work fine. But in an actual production live action world, might be too not cost efficient. You know, maybe that's a huge special effects sequence, or so many different characters, and, you know, and budget just doesn't. You're working on a small indie project, and that budget isn't there for that. So you always have to be thinking of that, and you know, your coverage of your shots in terms of how you're boarding there too. So there's a lot of thinking all the time to what you're doing. So let me go back over here to the chat and get updated here on the chat if there's something I missed. So let's bring Big Polly back up. Ba-ba-ba-ba-da. Oh, cool. Let's see here. What would you like to do? John C., when we're talking about the question of when thumbnailing your storyboards, do you like creating a shot list or just get into thumbnailing right away? And John says, get into thumbnailing directly. And then same with Jose. Likes to get thumbnailing there as well. Cool. Very, very cool. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and play with our sequence. I'm going to take a sip of drink here and spend the rest of the time we're going to be drawing. Any other questions or anything like that, drop it into the chat. I'd really appreciate it. Try to make this as interactive as I can, reaching out to you and being able to be to work with you at the same time. Very, very cool. Appreciate everybody subscribing and hanging out. And you know, it's funny, when I started this channel, I never would have thought it would have grown so quickly like this. And you know, you're sitting here in your my home studio talking and hanging out with you guys, and great to have so much great contact with you friends out there, and interested in what I do, and the process, interest in my journey and my processes, and I hope that can help you out in terms of your goals and what you're trying to attain. Let me take a sip here. I should get a cut from Polar Seltzer. Drinking on the thing. Okay, cool. Okay, let's get back into storyboarding here. Wet my whistle. Let's turn Big Polly off. Boom. Okay, let's get going. Okay, let's have some fun. Let's think about this sequence and how we're going to do this. Okay. So all I'm doing right now is putting together some shots. And we'll play around with this and see how far we can go with this. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Okay, so we got our crime thriller storyboards here. Think about these shots now. Okay. So let's play around with this now. Let's get into this. Okay. Let me sit there and think how we're going to do this. Okay, we want to establish that we're in the city. What I'm thinking is, this first shot, let's start off with some sort of the skyline. Just sort of thinking out here, thinking of the city. I'm just thinking of the storyboarding here. I'm just sort of thinking of the city shots. Just doing a wide, extreme wide angle shot. You know, it's a city, and then what I do is just go back and do some research on what city that we're looking at. in terms of the city lights. And then one thing I will always do when I'm sort of thumbnailing everything out too. I'll put the shot one. Okay, let's, and you can, if you need to, you can give some camera direction. As well, maybe the camera's panning from left screen to right screen. We can do something like that if we need to, or it's just a lockdown shot. What we're doing there. And these are just our sort of our rough thumbnails, laying this out. This wouldn't be something I'd submit. This would just be the rough of how is this city looking? What am I looking at? How do I want to go forward with this? Maybe I might want to come into the buildings themselves in terms of what I'm doing here. Another thing I could do here, I can be playing around with this and just be like, okay, I'm thinking out loud while I'm doing this. Maybe the camera is maybe my camera shot. I want to focus on this particular area of the building. So as I'm watching this film, start off with the city. I'm going into this one building here, pushing in. Cool. Maybe as I push in, I'll sit there and get it bigger. Wider shot, a little bit of a touch angle. This one. And that one building. So we're zooming in that one building. Maybe I have as we're closing in. Just thinking out loud right now. Maybe we'll refocus on that. There's people in this building. We're focusing on that building. Here we see stuff going around. So we're looking in. Go to that building. As we're looking, let's see here. And I want to do something like this. Let's see. what I do is grab that shot again. Like this. I'm just thinking aloud right now as we're putting this together. Boom, like that. I'm gonna grab that shot there. Must be 5. I think it's always challenging when you're making stuff up in your head and you're making up these shots, sort of like a comic artist as you're going along and you're coming up with what's the story, what are we trying to tell. It's a good challenge to sit there and you're not using a script and I'm not using any reference. I'm just sort of winging it here. And then what I'm going to do here is in that window, I'm just going to boom. There's like a huge explosion or something. Off the side of the building. Six. A huge explosion goes on. And then when I'm looking at shots like this, I'm trying to figure out the storytelling of what I'm doing. Maybe there was another shot that I could have put in here. We have the side of the building blowing up for this crime thriller, and so this is just my rough thumbnailing as I'm thinking it out and things like that. And then I would go back in and go do some research on, what city am I in, what's the skyline look like, what are the buildings. So some of the research, let me write that down here. As I'm thinking and working at the same time is on my research. um, I would ask, I would question, the questions I would be asking myself are like, where am I? Where am I? Am I in New York, Chicago? Am I in? Am I in Los Angeles? I want to look up. I'm gonna look at buildings. Oops. Maybe I'm gonna look at some of the explosions. So as I'm researching and I'm coming up with these thumbnails ideas, this is where I'm going to get. I'm going to be looking for the research. When I be my research, is I'm going to be looking up reference. I want to know what city I am in. Right now I'm just sort of a generic skyline that's up here on the top, but I want to go and I want to, you know. Have that there. And what skyline is it? I'm in New York. Am I in Chicago? And am I in Los Angeles? Where I'm in a different country. Am I in Shanghai? Where am I? It's looking at different building designs, the architecture of the buildings. Is it an old building, a new building? Is it the Empire State Building in New York? What am I looking at? And then sometimes I'll look up explosions. Maybe I want to have more dynamic explosion of what's going on here in terms of what I'm doing. So just roughly, and this is just all rough thumbnailing. Isn't stuff I'm going to show to the director yet. I'm just sort of putting together my thumbnails, my ideas. Maybe with this particular shot, you got the skyline as you are pushing in to a particular building. Maybe we go up in the windows, and maybe there's a dinner party going on. Maybe there's some sort of festivities or a big meeting. All the crime bosses are meeting or whatever it might be. So you have that human aspect of it before you see the building again, and then the building explodes and the debris and the fire is on that building. There's all sorts of other scenes that we can do within those shots. And so I think it's always thinking of what could we be doing within that office building or that building itself. Is there something going on, and then it explodes. um, we're making up this storyline as we go, and that's where we have to be flexible in terms of the storytelling. Maybe there is maybe we go up to a shot of the building, and And maybe in that shot. These are just roughly looking. Maybe there was somebody looking out that window. Just thinking out loud. As we're telling these stories, there's so many different things we can do. Maybe the looking out that window. As that person's looking out the window, maybe this shot that we just drew here maybe this shot here This is sort of like a, you know, the next shot, and then you keep going from there. And you can do some different things like that too. Hope everybody's having fun, following along. I hope you're storyboarding your own stuff. It'd be interesting to see what you guys are drawing. Share it with me and on my Instagram, and DM me with your artwork. I'd love to see what you guys are working on. Jose, John, Steigen, Maria, uh, Buddha Bill, so it'd be interesting to see what you guys are working on. But this is the way I sort of format as I'm going through. I'm sort of writing shots to myself, research, some notes, some things like that of how I want to do. I'm not falling in love with stuff. I'm changing it up. I'm moving it all around and just having fun with it and seeing where it flows. This is a little bit more difficult because I'm not working off any type of script. I'm just sort of playing around with my own imagination and just sort of what can I do with this. Sometimes also too I'll look at some other films and things like that to inspire or get something clicked off the top of my head in terms of what I'm working on. So cool. Any questions out there? It's almost going on 2 in the morning over here, so I'm about ready to call it a night, but we got this started here and get it going. Any questions out there? I'll leave it up to the chat real quick that I can answer for you. Appreciate everybody joining and hanging out and chilling out tonight. Appreciate you taking the time to watch. Either if you're watching this live, I appreciate you, and if you're not and you're catching this on the replay, really appreciate you taking the time to watch tonight and sort of hang out and sort of learn. Hopefully I gave you some good information on this live stream tonight in terms of storytelling and you know some basics of how to get things done and sort of the process of storyboarding. What are those things that you're looking at and having fun? Right now we created what, 3, 6. We did a lot of drawing tonight, but you just got to go through this process, and it's a lot of thinking. And sometimes I'll scribble this information down on just paper first. Sometimes I tend to work on paper a lot as well, and I'll just thumbnail out with a Sharpie something thick. I don't know if I go too thin. And I usually use pen because pen isn't. Over here on digital ways, digital drawing software, you can go over it over and noodle the heck out of stuff. Sometimes I just use pens and I sort of lay out real quick what my storyboard shots are going to be. I use a thicker pen, and so you have to stay committed to those shots of what you're doing, and then I'll go and either scan those in or bring them into Photoshop, go from those drawings into my digital drawings, and then play around it, still staying loose and stuff like that. So fun stuff tonight. I hope you learned a lot. I really appreciate everybody joining in tonight. Like I said, I'm going to call it a night for tonight. If there's any last questions, drop them into the chat. I'll answer those questions real quick. If not, I'm going to call it a night, and I'll see you guys again next week. I appreciate everybody joining me tonight. Thanks for watching, and like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, help support the channel. Also to drop a comment and a like on the actual live stream itself. Lets the YouTube algorithm know, hey, listen, I want to see more of this stuff, and be able to share there. So I have some exciting things that we're going to be launching off next week here on the channel. So stay tuned for some new cool stuff coming down the pipeline starting next week. And hopefully you can enjoy some more content, help you with your visual storytelling and storyboarding on the channel. So again, my name is Paul Angeli. I'm a live action storyboard artist, and I thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video next week. Till then, I will talk to you later. I'll leave you my contact information below. Talk to you soon. Take care and have a great night.